What's up, everybody? This is Steve from Bloom Audio. Today we have Aura, a collaboration between Astell&Kern and Vision Ears. Now, Astell&Kern has had a pretty steady stream of collaborations coming out, going back to Pathfinder with Campfire Audio, then Odyssey with Empire Ears, and now Aura with Vision Ears. Like Odyssey, Aura is a limited edition model with only 650 units being made. And of course, this thing looks amazing, but with a $41.99 price tag, it's going to need something more than just looking good to really stand out in that flagship IEM class. So let's go ahead and take a closer look and see how Aura does that. If you didn't know anything else about Aura, that faceplate alone might be enough to grab your attention. It's aluminum with a bronze coating on it. It's almost got this Art Deco design with the colors and the patterns. It almost looks like a fingerprint. And there's a vent on the front there for the dynamic drivers. It just really comes together with a really unique look. The shell itself is pretty lightweight, and I actually found it to be pretty small for an 11 driver hybrid. It might just be spending time with, the Noble Ronin and Viking Ragnar and now Raven, that, anything that's not huge is going to seem small. In terms of specs, Aura is an 11 driver hybrid with 2 dynamic drivers and 9 balanced armature drivers. Sensitivity is 115 dB and the impedance is 10.5 ohms. In terms of what you get in the package, there's the IEMs, of course. You get a 3.5 millimeter and a 4.4 millimeter effect audio OCC copper silver hybrid cable. There's a leather case, a leather pouch, a leather cable clip, 6 sets of ASLA ear tips, extra small to extra large, replacement vent screens, and a cleaning cloth. The package is really great and complements Aura well, and not just in terms of the aesthetics and colors and all of that, but even in how they selected the items for that. An example is the ear tips. Typically, when I'm demoing a new IEM, I just grab whatever tips I've got on my desk. In this case, we had some Spin Fits, Symbio Ws. I tried those all out, and then I tried the ASLAs that were included in the package, and I thought those were, far and away the best tips I tried with Aura. So, they didn't just throw some random tips in there. This is all really well thought out from a package perspective. Now, the cable design fits in nicely. Again, the color scheme, the hardware on it looks great, matches perfectly with Aura, the case and the whole kit and caboodle there. I did feel that the general feel of the cable, the stiffness and memory, didn't quite live up to what I'd expect in a $4,200 package, but it's a generally solid cable. So, looks and package aside, how does Aura sound? If you're familiar with Vision Ears, you may have noted how their flagship IEMs tend to combine, again, that detail and resolution, technical performance you expect out of, multi-kilobuck IEMs, and they combine that with a little bit more of warmth and character and musicality than some other top-of-the-line models do. The original Phoenix is a great example of this with that, warm color to the mids, and the Phoenix LE pulled that back a little bit, giving you a little less color, a little more bass, and a little bit more treble. Aura kind of hits in between these two. It does give you, again, a little more elevated bass, but with the dynamic driver, you get more of that, organic warmth that the original Phoenix provided, while still giving you that little bit of extra bass and a little more treble like the limited edition Phoenix did. The focus of the bass is in that lower sub-bass region, but there's a good fullness and thickness in the bass coming through the sub-bass into the mid-bass where you get a nice physical punch and impact. There's just great texture throughout the bass. It has that feeling you can really almost taste the bass sometimes. And a little bit of warmth coming up into the mid-range, though not as much as the original Phoenix had there. The mid-range delivers incredible detail with dense layering and highly organic sound. There's great natural timbre in the mid-range and really solid vocal and instrumental balance. Vocals feel slightly highlighted, but not too forward in the mix. It does a great job with both male and female vocals. The vocal presentation is further enhanced by strong treble with good air that lets you just capture that sense of breath and those small details in the vocals. The way you can kind of perceive those micro details, the resolution of the treble is really exceptional in Aura. So Aura can hit a little bit bright at times. Again, this will depend on your source and also your ear tips. When I was using the Symbio W hybrid tips, my initial impressions was that it was kind of bright. I passed them off to Scott in our office, and he switched the tips to the Astell, and he was like, "Oh, this is fun. It's bassy." I'm kind of like, "Really? Is it? Is it?" And I took it back, again, put the Astell tips on this time, and it definitely, again, it took away that brightness, really filled out the sound, and kind of transformed it for me. So it is going to be pretty sensitive to the tips, but also when I'm talking about it, I'm largely relying on the sound as intended with those tips in the box that were selected for Aura. The imaging presentation lends more towards that kind of natural, weighty, cohesive feel to it. This is not going to give you a sort of ethereal, diffuse soundstage and imaging way out there. It's very much up close and personal. And again, it feels realistic where you are going to get a good sense of space in the right atmosphere with the right recordings. But a lot of times it's going to give you more of that, reach out and touch something sort of imaging where, you almost feel like you're the one playing the violin or touching that piano when you listen with Aura. Speaking of IEMs that make you feel like you could just reach out and touch something while you're listening, the Empire Ears Raven is another one that's probably on your radar if you're watching this video right now. Aura and Raven are both recent releases. If you're looking to drop somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 on IEMs, definitely worth checking out these two because they do a lot of the same things, but they do them in a different way, in a way that's very complementary, but will also probably affect which one you're looking at for a potential purchase there too. In terms of the build, design, ergonomics, you can already see Raven and Aura taking pretty different paths. Now, there is a limited edition Raven, which is a little more aesthetically close to Aura. In terms of the standard version, you get this all black, embossed finish on Raven versus this, again, sort of Art Deco look with the bronze and the sort of purpley aluminum look on Aura. Just very different looks in general. Then you also, when you get to the ergonomics of it, Aura, as I noted, is pretty small for its class, considering there's 11 drivers in there, while Raven is really one of the biggest out there. But at the same time, it's clear Raven has a lot of thought into those tiny little bumps and grooves and everything else, the angles that help you still fit with that large size. Aura's a little smoother, very kind of a straightforward fit, just goes right in there. Sonically, Raven and Aura are pretty close, but also seem pretty far. If you're just talking about the basics, both have strong technical performance, excellent imaging. There's somewhat of an emphasis in the sub bass with fullness throughout the bass, and then a little more emphasis in that upper mids, upper treble. It's starting to sound, like these are really close. But the way they present that, some of it having to do with the difference between the dynamic driver and the bone conduction driver, with Raven having that bone conduction driver in addition to two dynamic drivers in the bass, which does change the character of the sub bass in particularly. And then in the highs, Raven has the ESTs in addition to balanced armatures, where again, Aura is just using the balanced armatures. But the end result is Raven just feels very in your face and also kind of larger than life. Like Raven is just this super vivid, somewhat aggressive sound where Aura is giving you that same sonic information, feels a little more relaxed about it. So with the imaging, again, Raven throws out a bigger stage with a more holographic feeling in general, but compared to Aura, it does feel somewhat exaggerated. That the separation, it kind of is like that contrast is turned up just a little bit more than reality. And I think there's definitely a place for both, for the Aura with this very natural, organic feeling, and Raven with this like just a little bit larger than life feeling in the way it presents the image and the music in general. In terms of figuring out, which one's going to be better for you or how these really break down, I really think it comes down to the fit. And again, that sort of more intense Raven sonic characteristic versus the little bit more relaxed Aura. If you want that sort of white-knuckled, edge-of-your-seat listening experience, Raven is going to give that to you in a way that Aura doesn't. But if that sounds a little bit too much, Aura's there with a little bit more of that natural, lush feeling. That again, it's a different experience, but I feel like you're getting, again, all that same sonic information in there. It's just how you like to receive that information, I guess. It's really too bad that Aura is a limited edition, especially because it just feels like it's refining and building on what Visioneers did with Phoenix and Phoenix LE and kind of combines things from both while improving upon them. And then there's the design, which is honestly one of my favorite looks from a new IEMs I've seen this year. So, you put that together and you get, a standout sonic performance with this great design that really sets Aura apart. Thanks for watching. You can check out Aura and a lot of other great products at bloomaudio.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon with more high-fidelity audio content.